Welcome back to the Midnight Who Show, and today I'm going to be reviewing Chapter 3 of Doctor Who Flux, Once Upon Time. Now, this story finds the Doctor jumping into the Time Storm in order to save Yaz and Vinder, and this leads to multiple different times. We get to see a little bit more about Vinder, some things with Yaz, Dan, and of course the past with the Doctor. Now, this does lead it to being a little bit more confusing. I don't think it was as confusing as the first story, though, because I was able to tell which moments were which. But with this confusion, it just did get a little bit too much with all these different timelines going on. I will say it was clever, though, giving the Doctor a different coat for her past. At least knew which was which, if that makes any sense. I will say this is probably my least favorite story so far. I think it did answer a few questions, mostly the Doctor's past with the Swarm, but it also led to a lot more questions. But I still think it was fairly enjoyable. It's just probably one I need to rewatch again. One of my favorite moments of the story was that we finally got to see more of the Doctor's days with the Division. And this also leads to us finally seeing the very first confrontation with the Doctor and the Swarm, which was so cool to finally see it. And it also allowed for the fugitive Doctor to come back. Yes, we got to see Joe Martin's Doctor again, and that was so awesome. I love that scene when the Doctor just looked in that reflection and saw the fugitive Doctor. It also led to a really cool scene with the Doctor kind of glitching between the two cells, which between the fugitive Doctor and the current Doctor, such a great scene. And we get to really see a little bit more of Joe Martin's Doctor. I just wish it was just a little bit more. And what I can say is, throughout this episode, the Doctor, Yaz, Vinder, and Dan took on various roles in these different timelines, which I think led to a lot of the confusion. But I still was able to at least somewhat understand it as the episode went on, but it was definitely an interesting choice. Another highlight of this episode was the scenes with Belle. At the beginning, you really have no idea who this character is and why we're following her, but we really get to see a lot of this new world post-Flux. We get to see how now there's three sectors, the Sontarans, the Cybermen, and the Daleks, all kind of fighting for control of the universe. And we find out at the end who this character really is. By the end of the episode, we actually found out that her partner is Vinder, and they actually have a baby soon. It'll be very interesting to see if they will reunite in Flux, and what this all means by the end of it. Overall, I enjoyed Once Upon Time. I still think it's definitely my least favorite so far, but I also think it's just because there's a lot more questions that need to be answered, but we still have 3 more parts, which is why it's really hard to rate each of these stories, because it's just one chapter of an overall story. But for one chapter, yeah, it was a little bit confusing, definitely hard to follow in some places, but there's definitely some really great moments, and we finally get some answers, like how does the Swarm know the Doctor? We get to finally see that, and I kind of want to see more of the Doctor's days with the Division. I think that would be really cool. So if you've seen Once Upon a Time, let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, everyone.